Biowares is a Canadian video game company known for its excellent RPGs. These RPGs usually feature excellent world building, an engaging story that can be influenced by the player, and well-written characters that the player can form intimate relationships with. The romance between the players and NPC is something that BioWare has become quite infamous for, and it's something that is to be expected from a BioWare game nowadays. If there is no romance, is it really a BioWare game? Another thing BioWare has become famous for is its inclusivity. In the modern day and age, BioWare might even be regarded as one of the most LGBT-friendly developers out there, with many games such as Dragon Age and Mass Effect featuring many same-sex romances. And many consider Dragon Age Origins to be the first game where BioWare featured an explicitly gay romance. Before this, BioWare had a history of quietly referencing gay characters or romances, but without clearly indicating that they were there. So, this might bring us to the question: what was BioWare's very first foray into the world of LGBT romances that they are so known for today? Well, the answer might shock you, or it might not. As you may have seen from the thumbnail, it is clearly Juhani from the first Knights of the Old Republic game that I am talking about. Her romance is quietly hidden into the game. You will never encounter it unless you follow some very specific steps. Well, first of all, you must play as a female character, although this step might be a bit obvious. The next step is to meet Juhani. You first meet Juhani on her planet of Dantooine. She is very enraged the first time you meet her, and she is fully prepared to kill you.
I will be your doom!
She's a Jedi who has fallen to the dark side, and in order to romance her, your character must bring her back to the light.
What is it you want? Why do you bother me? Talk. You who have beaten me so easily just want to talk? I do not believe it. Kill me now while you still have the power. You do not? I am pathetic. I sit here and think myself to be great by embracing the dark side, but I am nothing. There is no way I could be turned back. I thank you for your kind words, Jedi. You seem to know just what affects me. I seem to still have much to learn, both about being a Jedi and about myself.
After rescuing her from the dark side, you may invite her to join the party. In order to trigger the romance with her, you must always choose the nicest dialogue options, and eventually she will start opening up to you. This is where the romance starts, more or less. It can be considered to be quite subtle in comparison with romances from other BioWare games.
I am sorry for attacking you. I am sorry for thinking you would only try to kill me. I hope that by helping you in your task, I may redeem myself in your eyes, and in my own. What is it? How I came to be a Jedi? I am sure you would not find it very interesting. Are you sure you would like to hear? When I saw a Jedi for the first time, they lived up to everything my imagination had created them to be. I was old, and maybe a little enamored. They were quite striking, especially the tales of their leader. From that moment on, I knew that I would have to try to become a Jedi, to lift myself out of the rut I had been living in for years, and to make a real difference as the Jedi.
You have to read between the lines in order for you to start to notice that Juhani has fallen for the player. Although there are some moments where it is more obvious, and the player may even try to hit on her with varying results.
You self-centered fool. To think that I would desire to mate with one such as you, should that even be possible. I can only assume that that was some misguided attempt at humor. I was using poetic license. But those Jedi...
Juhani battles with her conflicting feelings of anger and admiration at the player. On one hand, she hates the player because she feels that they are responsible for the destruction of her race.
You are the center of the universe. What does it matter if my homeworld was wiped out by your actions? Who cares if it is because of you that everyone I knew as a child is dead? If it were not for you and Bastila, the Sith would have never had reason to destroy that world. It was your fault for being there, and your fault for rescuing Bastila. Without your intervention, the Sith would have had no cause to lay waste to my childhood. Just let me vent my anger. I need someone to blame. Something. Anything. I know. I suppose I realized that. But it is so hard to lose your entire past. You would not understand. Yes, I suppose it will. As long as we remain focused on our task, it will. I am sorry. I will try not to distract you in the future with my trivial experiences. We should stop for now.
On the other hand, she idolizes the player for showing her, a Cathar, such love and kindness, something she says she has not experienced before. Doesn't that remind you of another famous love-hate lesbian romance between a cat girl and a human? Anyways. By showing Juhani compassion and understanding whenever her anger gets the better of her, a romance starts to bloom. Eventually, Juhani starts to reveal more about the Jedi who encourage her to join the Order. It is clear that Juhani associates some romantic feelings with this person.
And of course, there was the constant bigotry and hate from the more affluent and human citizens, lording their wealth over us living below. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived, and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human. The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order, the one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians, she was human. I suppose I see something of her in you when I look. I am sorry. I am getting away from my point, if there even was one. Sometimes I curse the day my parents fled to Taris, but then again, if they had not, I would not be where I am today.
Juhani eventually confesses that the Jedi who saved her was Revan, the player. Suddenly all the pieces start falling into place, and the romance starts to become more obvious.
Leading an army out to defeat the Mandalorians. It was you. I knew when I heard that you had become the Dark Lord of the Sith, that something was wrong with it. The woman who saved me, who I have come to care for, could never go completely to the dark side. It is good to know that you have truly changed. It gives me hope. I do not think now that I will fall to the dark side. I only have to look at you and follow by your example, and there is no way I can fail. That is especially meaningful, coming from you. I will never forget what you did for me, even if you do not remember.
After this, you have gotten to know Juhani just as much as you can. The final piece required in order to trigger Juhani's confession of love is a quest called Threat from Zor. This quest is extremely buggy and probably a big part of the reason that many people miss her romance entirely. The quest is triggered at random when you enter or exit the Ebon Hawk on planets such as Korriban, Kashyyyk, Tatooine, or Manaan. It can be very difficult to trigger this encounter, and you may have to travel back and forth between planets and run to and from the Ebon Hawk. Regardless, when you have triggered it, you will meet Zor, the slaver who killed Juhani's father. He speaks demeaningly of Cathar and admits that he has played an active part in their enslavement. A bit ironic, perhaps, that he is a Twi'lek because they are a species often associated with slavery.
Now don't be so selfish. We both know Cathar aren't real people anyway. What? Me? Oh, now I recognize where I've seen that face before. You were the little Cathar I was going to purchase. But those Jedi came and stole my pet away from me.
Anyways, in order to complete the quest, you must find Zor again by repeating the steps you had to do to find him in the first place. When you find him, you must encourage Juhani to not kill him, and then you will have done all the steps necessary to trigger the final conclusion of the romance.
Animal! You wretch!
But I'm beyond your petty vengeance now, girl. You can never have your revenge.
I will not give him the satisfaction of seeing me give in to the dark side.
Give in and embrace your hate. You are no better than me. You are nothing.
Help me, please. Do not let me give in to my anger again. There is peace. No, I will not do this. He may die, but it will not be out of my vengeance.
You coward! You weak!
This final confrontation between Zor and Juhani is quite interesting. It reinforces a long-running theme in the Juhani and player romance, and that is that the player helps Juhani overcome her anger, and Juhani helps the player achieve her goals. One might question how healthy this dynamic is, but nonetheless it is very strong and quite interesting. It makes a lot of sense to me that this romance is exclusive for Revan players who choose the light side, because it is very much dependent on saving Juhani from the dark side and her dark thoughts. Anyways, now after encountering evil Bastila and making her flee, you must trigger a conversation with Juhani. This is yet another stupid thing that leads to her romance often being missed by the player. You must initiate the conversation before you leave the roof of the temple, otherwise the scene will not trigger. Bioware easily could have made it so the conversation triggers automatically, but they did not. I cannot help but wonder if they did this to further hide the romance. After all, 2003 wasn't the best year for LGBT teens in games. But anyway, what she has to say is quite interesting.
This may be the last time I will have a chance to talk to you. I just want you to know that I care for you. I do not know why. I do not know if anything will be possible, or if you even return what I feel, but I do know it is there. I am sorry if this upsets you. I am so sorry if I am wrong, but I cannot deny what it is that I feel. Now that I have put myself in this position, I know not what to say. Yes, I thank you. But as much as I may care for you, and you for me, first we must deal with Malak. After, there will be time to sort things out between us.
The confession is heartfelt and beautiful. It is not overt. The typical words, I love you, are not mentioned. But the feeling is obvious, and it is mutual. Well, at least in my playthrough. Even though the confession is obviously ambiguously worded in order to avoid controversy, I find it much more touching confession than the more obvious ones that have appeared in later Bioware games. And in my opinion, there has not been a great lesbian romance in Bioware games since Juhani, in terms of specifically lesbian romances. For instance, Bioware has gotten much worse over the years, and their most recent one, Sarah from Dragon Age Inquisition, was universally trashed by fans. But back to the main point of the video. Why is Juhani so iconic? Well, she was Bioware's first gay romance, and one of the first honest and realistic lesbian romances to ever appear in a video game at the time. Apparently, the inclusion of the Juhani romance even inspired the openly gay Bioware writer David Gaider to start writing more gay romances and characters. And this is one of the things that the studio is most known for today. And I think Juhani as a character deserves an acknowledgement for the role she played in Bioware's success. Thank you for watching my video! This one is a little bit different to the other ones I've done. I'm really thankful that I have, a very big number of subscribers. I have 45 subscribers. Wow, wow, wow. and his Skyrim historically accurateness video has 2,000 views. That's crazy. 2,000 people is a lot of people. I hope you guys like this video, even though it's a little bit different. I don't really have a goal for what I'm going to do with this channel. I'm just going to make videos on things I found interesting and videos on things I like, and it will probably be history or lesbian related, but you know, I'm sure you guys can handle it. Anyway, thank you for all the nice comments on my other videos. Bye!